conference will now be recorded.
Call the meeting to order. Stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, we gather this day to do the important business of the people of the village of Owego. Grant us wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Amen.
Amen. All right, a little bit out of order tonight because Becca has to leave. So we're going to do her before public comment.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me the time and doing it early. So I am here because we just got the permit from DOT today. So it is going to be a permit for the village. So one thing that they do need is a resolution from you guys on who is authorized to sign that. So I'm assuming it's going to be Mike.
Yeah, so you sent us the resolution that they want.
I sent you like the wording that DOT wanted in the resolution, but I didn't have like a template or anything for a village resolution, so I didn't put that together.
And do you want to just update about the project?
Yeah, sure. So I brought that because I don't know how many of you got a chance to see it in person. And then are you able to pull up those pictures?
I mean, here on my screen, so I guess.
Because the size of this was, something that we were discussing. So I think I emailed everybody a while ago. Just try that one. I think that one's fine. So that, obviously, we just put that up temporarily so you could kind of see the size of the sign, the visibility from the road, from the angle of like a car. So I hope that kind of helps. I don't know if anybody still has issues with the size of the sign, and we do have one other thing on the shape of the sign to talk about too, but.
Are those going to be the size of the sign?
Yes, that's that sign right there.
Is that the size we had all along?
Yes. Yeah, that hasn't changed, but we like seeing the dimensions of it, and it is big when you see it there, but once you put it up, it's kind of like a traffic light, see them on the ground and you're amazed by how big they are. And then if you can go to the VD round 1. So one thing that was brought up by a couple of you is the sharp edges on the sign also. So there is a picture on there. We don't have to go back to it. They are going to be 7 feet up. So like there's plenty of like head clearance. But Terry did bring up a good point today about how, like when somebody really wants to do something, they might jump and hit it or whatever. And Mike brought that up too about maybe rounding off the corners of it. That is definitely a possibility. I'm happy to have that done if the board decides to do that. So, but I just wanted you to get a visual of it. This isn't really a concern, but the shape of it does, it kind of changes like the visual of it with the way that, it's curved and the type of font and that kind of thing. Seeing it, I don't think there's a huge difference if that will, if that's preferred. It's just like a design suggestion from the designer, and I did get what he was saying, but I think either way is okay.
I like the curve there. Around the edges, A for safety and B because it matches like every other sign that's on the road.
That was another thought I had too once I saw it. I'm like, it kind of does look more like an informational sign than like a street sign or, like DOT type sign. So, and these are not things we have to make decisions on right now. This is just an update. But we are kind of, now that we have the permit nearing the end of it, so we want to just make sure there's some details that are like locked down. And this was one of the things that was kind of outstanding. So I did want to bring that to your attention. And then the other thing I'd like to do is to circulate again, kind of like the final plan. There were some minor updates that we made, and we haven't looked at it for a little while. So just to make sure everything is where you guys want it to be, and maybe get like a final approval. I know we approved some of the signs, but if I get to you guys over the next couple weeks to kind of make sure that we're all on the same page, would that be okay? And maybe talk about it at the next meeting?
When do you need this resolution about who's gonna sign the permit?
So that would be good to have as soon as possible, because there is some legwork that the installers have to do with like Dig Safe New York and, you know, that kind of thing. I didn't think to ask if they would do it before the permit, but I don't think they were allowed to until that part is finalized with DOT. So I guess sooner the better.
Is next meeting okay, or do you want it like tonight?
Ideally, I would like it before then so they can get going. Honestly, with the way the weather is, I don't know if it will matter all that much. So we do have a timeline that we're working on. So right now, the grant goes to the end of March. The installers feel very confident that they can get it done by that time, but there are some steps in the process that have to take place before that. And again, weather is a factor.
Oh,
So
you didn't get the extension to the end of the,
not till the end of the year.
like we did.
Oh, lucky you. It's something that I could look into, but we're just really close right now. So, and that's, I mean, you guys know because you do it, that whole extension process and all of that. If I can avoid that, I would like to, but it's not out of the question, because I think it's more important that we do this right than do it fast.
I just want to make sure I understand a piece of the question.
Yes.
So when the mayor signs, you're saying sooner than later signs the permit, does the installation team want to start immediately putting things up?
So they are going to wait until we have final approval.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, no. So this is the only thing that this would start is them looking, like, I think the dig safe part to make sure like that they can put them where they need to be. I think
utility part.
Yeah, the utility part. Like, just make sure they don't hit like gas lines,
Sure.
You know, things like that. So that would be the only work that would be done. If you are okay with us going ahead and doing this adjustment to the shape of the signs, that would be helpful too, just so we can get that backing ready. So when the messaging is approved, the final locations are approved, we are already have those steps behind us. That would be helpful, but that is not necessary.
You're gonna hopefully have all that final stuff pretty soon if your funding runs out in March.
Yeah, I mean, so the shapes are all like cut out. You know, when we were talking about the size, they would have been able to cut it down if they needed to. They can do the rounded edges like we're talking about today, but they haven't put all the wording on yet because we want to make sure that's right. There is a piece in the design that we haven't talked about yet, but on the, you know, the monument sign, like the bigger signs, the one that we talked about putting in Courthouse Square, we want to put a map on the back that says like, you are here, and also calls out like Brick Pond and, you know, the River Walk, which is right there, but, you know, some points of interest that aren't right in the area, so people kind of have like an idea of other places they can go. That I do not have yet, so when I get that, I would like everybody's eyes on it, make sure we're not missing anything, make sure, you know, that we all agree on the locations that are on there, but everything else you've seen. But that will be part of, you know, us getting all the final pieces together.
Like, do we need to vote to change the shape, or do we just do that?
So I don't think you need a vote to change this shape, because this was part of the sign family. This sign family we did not approve because we needed to get more information on the size. So this hasn't really been approved yet.
I'm just wondering if we something official to go with around it if we so desire, or
I mean, it wouldn't hurt them, they had like definite direction one way or the other.
I would make a motion then that we approve to round the sign off as presented.
So we'll talk about that in rounded corners.
So I don't know how the process works, so how did we get to, we didn't, and maybe it's too big, we're not gonna change it, how did we?
So we didn't settle on that, so
Okay.
if that's still a part of the conversation, we need to probably talk about that. I mean, when we talk to DOT, we can't have letters smaller than that, that's how big they have to be. And so making it smaller, I mean, it's just gonna kind of consolidate it a little bit, and everybody that I talk to on the board, which is not everybody, so it's okay if we still need to discuss that, when they saw the picture and they saw it up, said, oh yeah, that size makes sense. So it's pretty standard, but if you guys still want to talk about that, there's still time to make that change. We just don't want to start rounding the corners until we have that settled as well.
Should we be doing all this during
She did just say though, I guess you can't decide on rounding the corners until you decide how big the signs.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I think the rounded corners would be regardless of size, in my opinion.
Right.
we just can't do that, we just can't do it until, yeah,
right.
that's all.
So let's just talk about just the rounded corners. Do we want rounded corners or square corners? Then we'll deal with the size. Rusty.
Okay, so you know that I'm
Mhm.
concerned about the size, but I will tell you one thing. The rounded corners give the impression it's not as big.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So that is a plus.
Yeah.
For the rounded corner, and it's, boy, you won't hear this out of my mouth, it's warmer.
I went, oh, this is being recorded, good. We have a record of it.
My opinion about the corners.
Okay, so we have any other discussion about the corners? We've got a motion to second to accept the corners, or the rounded corners, not the sharp corners. Okay, we'll vote. Fran.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Char. Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
And yes. Okay, so rounded corners.
Okay.
Sounds like we still need to talk
We
about the
actually did
size.
something.
That was relatively quick.
We got to leave soon, so. And then, should we talk about the motion to approve, or for me to sign the DOT permit?
I put a motion together, which if you want to, but you did need to resolve the signs issue.
Yes, that would be, if we can do that, that would be helpful as well.
Say that again, too.
You need to resolve the size issue for authorizing the mayor to sign a DOT permit to put signs in place.
The size of the sign.
Oh, the size, we need
The
to
size,
decide
the
the
size,
size.
probably on.
I mean, I think when we saw it blank, it looked huge and blank. When you see it like that, it kind of makes more sense. And I do agree with Rusty, rounded, it will be a little bit
smaller.
smaller also. Seeing it in the picture up on a whole also makes sense because, right, if it's any smaller, you will not see it, and that's kind of silly too. We
Right.
want them to be seen,
You know, there's a guy in there for scale.
yes,
and
yes.
Car there.
Yes, it's not blocking the view.
They park on the sidewalk.
Because they're probably unloading
Get them.
into a.
There's always activity on that door.
But anyway, we digress. I mean, so I think.
But it doesn't
this
look
looks-
insanely huge. that it, like,
No,
it's
it
kind
does
of
not.
Flows. I think.
No, I very much appreciate you doing the physicality of this, so we
Oh,
can
yeah.
actually see it.
Yeah.
And it's not as large as I thought it was going to be.
It's really like, because it did look large, and, you know, I think, and that's what I kept, so they were doing like digital renderings, which was good, and they were very precise about the size, but when I was like, I wish we could just put one up, and he's like, do you think anyone would care if I put one up for an hour or so? And, you know, so I hope no one cared, but I think that really helped with the visual part of
It takes us more than an hour to do anything, so.
it.
So does the permit with the state say that it has to be a certain size?
So the permit with the state says the font has to be a certain size, not the actual sign.
We don't have to have that for the permit.
You don't need it for the permit.
Okay, just saying.
You will need it to order signs though.
Yes.
And when is the deadline for completion of installation?
So we're hoping to have that done, so we're shooting for the first or second week of March to give us a little wiggle room in case there's anything that holds us up.
How long, do you know how long it takes for the signs to be produced?
I don't know exactly, but I mean, they, like, once so they said, like, just, I mean, barring scheduling and stuff, it's gonna take like a week maybe to get all of them in the ground, once all this other stuff is done.
Nate was asking how long it takes to make them, not.
So I don't know exactly, but it's pretty fast.
All the blanks are already made, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
They just don't have to.
Well, they gotta be rounded off.
Yes, they do. So if the size does change, then we can do that. But I mean, I feel like
Are the edges of that sign painted?
this one, I think so.
Did you say painted?
Yeah, the whole thing, actually not the back, but yes.
So it sounds like
Yeah,
you
folks
might have until your second meeting this month to really make a decision.
If-
and still
yep.
maintain that timeline.
But I mean, just like, I don't know how much smaller we can go. You know what I mean? Like if we round the edges,
Fine.
we'd just be like taking,
Around the edges, you don't have much extra room there.
right. So like this would maybe have to shift a little, you know, and be more centered, but
But yeah, I assume if you make it smaller, you'll take it off both sides, but.
yeah, that's what I mean, like that, so it's not like we just cut that, so we could, and again, this isn't done, so we can orient them however you guys want, but I just don't know if that's gonna really cut it down all that much.
One more time, Mike. So when we talked about, and we went out and
Mhm.
looked it all over, we talked about that, boy, that looks awfully big. The idea there, I don't say we should do it or not, because it's gonna be problematic to do it, would have been to, say, cut that in half so the sign was more the size of the two poles holding up. But the blanks have already been made, that becomes more and more problematic, and it probably won't fit. I mean, I was one of the people who wanted to do it, but it's probably not gonna work
Yeah,
to make it smaller.
taller versus wider, but
Yeah.
it's still the same size, you just turn it the other way, basically.
But still,
What do you?
then they gotta redo it all over.
Right.
Well, and then your wording doesn't line up the same, because like Coburn Street and then library is gonna be underneath it.
That's true.
Right, yeah.
That's gonna look goofy.
That's true.
Not with the hyphen between B and R, yeah.
Yeah, right, wherever the word ends.
I'd honestly rather see it this way than vertical.
Yeah,
I think vertical would be more basic in my opinion.
I think it's easier to read like that, but especially when you're driving, and these are meant for when you're driving.
Mhm.
That's why the lettering has to be that big.
Yeah, the vertical orientation, is not like, I think it was like not recommended just because of the way people read signs, like it would, because you're driving, there was something with like the amount of time you have to read it. Not that it would be impossible, but that's why you see signs mostly like this, I think.
Probably the amount of like lines.
They don't have time to read.
Well, you
That's-
read it in
that's-
chunks,
Right,
really,
yeah.
is what you do. So, yeah, if it's like one on top of another, it's gonna be very awkward to read. So, I mean, this is really the way it has to look to be read.
Question.
Move, we authorize the mayor to sign the permit for the state.
Second,
So wait, hold on.
It's got to say a bunch of stuff.
because size wasn't actually
So,
in the
yeah, motion to authorize the mayor of the village of Owego, Michael Dorado III, to sign the New York State Department of Transportation Office of Right-of-Way Permit for temporary use of state property number 90950 to complete a W-9 form associated therewith, and to provide all insurances required by the state of New York relating to the village of Owego wayfinding sign project.
Was that the template?
That's what Nate just came up with based on the.
Nate came up with, that wasn't their template?
Now, they,
I just did the bullet points.
That's what you said, right, Rusty?
Got so many words.
I love names.
And then Rob an email too.
Perfect.
I think you should email them.
Yeah, work on your short.
Actually, would rather somebody else make that.
All right. Oh, you don't want to make that motion?
Why don't you make that one?
Ron,
I
second.
seconded it. You want me to take it away? I'll make the motion.
All right, Ron's gonna make.
I'll make the motion exactly the way Nate presented
I'll
it.
second it.
Okay, so we got that motion seconded, some discussion on it. Obviously, that also approves the sign that you had signed.
Well, I don't,
Did
I
not.
don't think it does.
Did not. Because the state didn't. We've got a little tiny bit more
Never mind.
wiggle on that. That and the rest of the project.
So that's just to sign the permit and get them their insurance or whatever.
Gonna have to decide on a sign size.
Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Fran.
Yeah.
Terry.
Yes.
Charles. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Should we decide on the size or we want to still research that?
I know, so we're gonna be together to discuss this size. I mean,
Before the time you made, probably not right.
I mean, it's been out there for 2 months at least.
So what would you need, Rusty, I guess, to decide on the size? Like, what information would you need?
Were we going to, the board probably likes that size anyways. Weren't we coming back in 2 weeks to finalize everything, the whole
Yes,
project?
yeah.
Because it's not done deal. Well, I thought that's what we were gonna do, all of
Well,
it.
we can, as long as that's good.
But if we wanna do
I
it,
mean,
we send it down,
we'll
that's whatever it
do
is.
whatever, it's fine.
I don't care.
We'll make stuff work.
As long as that's good for them, then we can approve that 2 weeks.
Okay, but if you need more information to make the size decision, if you can let me know as soon as possible, that would be great. So if you think of anything you need to see, I'm happy to accommodate. I can't think of anything right now that would help, but.
Well, I really think the height of that sign makes it less obstructive.
Yeah, yep. Well, and that's, I mean, like when we walked around and stuff, and we did look at all the other signs. DOT obviously was very concerned about not blocking other signs and, you know, that kind of thing. So that was considered, I think, by pretty much everybody who, you know, engaged in those conversations.
Yeah, I would move that we just approve the sign size the way it is and just stop all this hurdles.
So like a motion.
That's gonna be a that's a motion.
That's the motion.
Stop
The
all the
hurdles.
hurdles.
Down below hurdles. Is the horse called?
Stopping all the hurdles.
We're stopping
the things you prepared and do everything else necessary.
Yeah, I'll second that.
But stop all the hurdles. Well, you gotta be really explicit about the delegation of authority.
You need me to spell hurdles for you?
Ross needs it.
Thank you, but this motion was just for the size of the sign.
I was clarifying what the hurdles meant.
When you jump those hurdles, there's a certain amount above the ground that you have to jump over the hurdle.
Fran second.
All of those.
Granted.
Yeah, start over there.
Approve the sign.
Okay, so this approves the sign size. We don't know if it approves everything, but it approves the sign size for sure. Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles, Rusty,
No,
Laura,
No.
Ron.
Yes.
So they're gonna be that size, that rounded corners, and I'll get the sign with you.
Okay, and so I will get all the final things to everybody so we can talk about that. Feel free to reach out to me whenever you would like about messaging and all that stuff. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Do you want that here so you guys can look at it more? Or are you good?
It's got dangerous corners.
It does have dangerous corners. Hey, if I haven't fallen into it, then you guys are probably thinking that I'm pretty close.
They're gonna be here.
Okay, all right. Okay, I might need it back, but maybe not, because they are gonna cut some extras just for the village to have in case there needs to be like a replacement or something like that too, so. So we'll see how all that shakes out.
It'll be here, it's not going anywhere.
Okay, cool, well, thank you guys so
Pick it
much.
up anytime.
Okay.
Thank you. Beth.
Thank you, have a good night, everybody, and thank you for your time and getting me out of here. soon.
she puts it up on the table, we won't be able to jump up and hit it.
That's true. All right, so now we'll go backwards to public comment. usually do that first. Got any public comment?
I'm sorry. I'm hearing, I was thinking about the sign still.
Oh.
So, yeah, I just came to introduce myself. I did have an opportunity at the early part of the meeting, but I'm Joellen Rose, and I'm the new elected legislator for District 2.
I wish you fully good luck.
Of course, I know Laura, Ron, and Nathan, we said hello, and Bill
We
Cooley.
met already.
And of course, I know this guy for many years. Yes.
Yes, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good. Now, what thought you were supposed to do?
And I really want to attend the meetings regularly, except when there's maybe a conflict, just to understand what the village is doing and hope if there are times when we can collaborate and do some things
Yeah,
together.
keep us informed.
And that too, I would be happy to do that as well. So I won't take any more time, I'm just gonna sit down and give up on the log here, okay?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so we've got some invited guests.
Anybody else in the public?
Oh, is there any other public comment?
Would you like me to comment about why I'm here tonight?
You're good.
I do not care.
I assume.
Would you like me to comment as to why we're asking for what we're asking? So this board has an understanding of why in case I get hit by a truck tomorrow or something unforeseen happens. So I'm from the Tioga County Agricultural Society, and we are trying to do great things at the fairgrounds. As you guys have seen, I have a copy here of 2024. They did a economic impact study. 2024, we brought in $2 million to Tioga County. So we bring a lot of money, and that's just Fair Week. That's not off fair events. We're bringing more off fair events this year. We've got, I think, 8 horse shows coming down this year. We've got the guys that run around with swords and stuff like that. The
Medieval guys.
the medieval guys, they're coming back again this year. We have a couple other things in the wings. Biggest thing we're trying to do is the Village of Owego lost its farmer's market. We're trying to bring that back. We want to house that. We have approved on our end to start moving that forward at the fairgrounds on our property. We are currently zoned for some reason R2, 3, I don't care. We should be zoned agricultural, but I'm told we're not allowed to do that. But we're trying to get zoned business so we can do business down there. Mind you, we were there before zoning laws came into effect doing what we are doing. So in the long run way around, we would be kind of exempted from that anyhow. But to keep life grand, we want to make this happen. We have 4-H and FFA are doing their sales and stuff down there. So trying to be compliant with zoning, even though we are exempted from what we do. This is why we're trying to get this zoning law changed, because the county came to me and said, you can't do what you want to do. And we have a barn project that we're coming down with soon. It's going to be a little bit higher than what's allowed in residential. Again, there's no residential around us. There's no houses there. You can't build there. You can't put a house there. We're putting a barn there, 80 by 200. That's coming down the road here in the next month or so for that approval. So it'll be a flood-proof building. So there's no issues with that. It's going to be open side pole barn. But that's neither here nor there. But that's why I wanted to come down and address everybody as to why we're trying to make this change to business down there from residential to which can't build a residence there anyhow. So that was it.
And everything next to it's business or industrial.
Everything around us is business and industrial. Anyhow, our other property, where we have our parking lot, the old football field, or baseball field out front of the school, that's own business. So school property is business. We're stuck in a corner as, I don't know why. And again, we were there well before any zoning laws came into effect, doing what we are doing today still, since 1800, and I don't know what. So.
So the action tonight for the board would be to schedule a public hearing. Now, I know that the county's weighed in with a letter saying that they don't have any issue with this. That wasn't the formal 239 referral though, because the application I think hadn't been into the village at the time that the county weighed in on it. And there's a local law that would accomplish the rezoning wasn't drafted at the time, so county will turn this around without any issue, but it won't be in time for your meeting in 2 weeks, so it'll be your first meeting in March.
That's when we go to public hearing.
Yeah, that'd be the public hearing, and I don't recall if your zoning code requires you to refer this to an advisory opinion to the planning and or zoning board. So that, but doing it the first meeting in March gives the time for that as well, if it's needed. So.
One more time since we rezoned everything.
Sooner the better for us, because we want to move forward with bringing things here to this village. We are hampered by this now. I can't move forward with my building permits. I can't move forward with anything, so if there's anything to expedite this faster, would make my day. And again, I don't know, not up to me, that's up to you guys, but
So this does have to be referred to the planning board,
county or village?
the village planning board.
Which doesn't mean till the end of the month. Right. So the first meeting in March would be the right time. If we'd like to schedule a public hearing. And then for your thing, so we have the public hearing and then we could adopt it then. And then we could rezone. Rusty?
Eric, where are you sniffing putting the farmer's market?
Probably right out in front of our cattle barn or right alongside of it.
So Rusty, he will have to go through site plan review
Uh-huh.
in order for any construction to happen.
Uh-huh.
So
Right, well,
just as a informational piece.
Right, for what we're
You'll have
building.
to go through site plan review.
I understand all that. I want to know where you're sniffing putting the
So,
farmer's market, good size area, where I know what's on the property, where you're putting on
in
property.
the field just to the north of the bathroom at this point, is what we're planning. The bathroom trailer is parked down there. our bathroom.
Oh, yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Got that open field there.
Sure, between that and the kids there.
Yep.
4-H.
Corey's building, yep, that's what
So you
we're
weren't thinking about putting it over, because you already have business over in that other field. You weren't thinking about putting it on the field, you
I
already have
don't,
business.
I don't have security, I don't have water, I don't have electric, I don't have sewer, I don't have bathrooms.
I know the big thing was they wanted bathrooms.
You have to have bathrooms, you have to have handicap accessible bathrooms. We've thought this through hard.
I'm just trying to find out where
Yep.
you're going.
No,
When they moved, we picked around a couple, like, where could you put it? And then the bathrooms was always the problem.
right. We have, it only makes sense because we are the agricultural society.
Right.
Why wouldn't you have it there?
Right.
I mean, we,
We should have farmer's market, right?
right, this village is a beautiful park down here that is, I don't want to say it's underutilized because there's a lot of people that use it. But the more people we bring into town, again, I look at that economic impact study from 2024, which was a bad year for us. We brought in $2 million to the economy here, and we can just add to that by more things. The more we can bring stuff down there, the more economic impact it makes to the village and the better off the village is, and the more self-sustainable we are.
The nice thing about the farmer's market being here, like when I was at Walgreens, people can walk there.
Yep.
They lost a lot of that traffic when I went to there. It's great.
We're a little bit farther than, right in Village Square, but
Not quite.
not quite that far.
People walk over there for the pool.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of people walk that walkway around there too.
Another block.
Probably safer to walk there than around there by the Walgreens.
That's true. Maybe we can do some skating there. So we have a motion to set the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to have the public hearing on the first meeting in March.
Second. Okay, any discussion about that? Yeah, okay. Again, this doesn't do anything besides put the law together and say we're gonna talk about it. Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Carl, Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
and yes. Okay, I'll cross that off my list of things. We'll have the public hearing first meeting. in March. That sounds like it's as fast as we can do it.
Would there be any objection to move forward with our building permit site plan prior to this zoning? Time is of the essence for us.
Yeah, you really, you can start putting your site plan together, but the planning board can't review anything until the property's been.
But I can go in and start filling out my building permit here in the building permit department, you know, like,
They just can't give you the building.
understood, but we can start
Yeah. you can
that
still
ball
get-
rolling pending
Be ready for that day.
that to happen. So it's the day you say go, I'm going.
Right, you can come here, put it.
You won't be able to get the building permit until after the site plan's been reviewed by the planning.
Right, but we can,
You're really looking probably at April.
here's what I don't want to be. In August, somebody say, here's your building permit, Eric. Because Eric is gonna be very livid, and Eric will not be happy. So we have a contractor lined up, we have a lot of, 400,000 plus. We have most of our financing lined up, we're ready to go. So that's why, again, I understand there's hurdles that we have to accomplish, but we just know we want to keep moving forward, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Eric, I didn't catch your last name.
Johnson,
Johnson, thank you.
pain in the ass of some, friends of others. This is true.
I was the same person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, I called and offered him up. I said, if you need help moving snow with a loader or a truck, call me. I would have donated one of my trucks and loaders. Yeah, right.
You got a truck with a bed in it, that's what they need.
Yeah, we do that too.
All right, so, on the phone, can't get some names. We've got some people from Buffalo Solar, to talk about the solar project.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good. And then we've also got Hunt to talk about the police station project. Let's start with the solar thing.
Yeah, so do you want me to start, or Laura, did you want to touch on this at all?
So we have this big project for the solar and the DPW roof, the building is older. And so when we want to do a structural analysis of the building to make sure that the roof is still strong enough to hold the weight of the system. And to do that, it might be an additional cost. And so they've got some numbers to share.
Yeah, so I can jump onto that. So we did do a structural analysis of the DPW building, and the decking on that roof is actually a docks block roof decking, which is concrete. And, you know, it's a fine decking, but in order to get a structural analysis on it, there's much more testing that needs to take place. And, you know, we've already gotten one denial as far as the structural analysis goes. There are paths forward with that, but there's additional cost that's associated with it. And so what I want to bring to everyone tonight is, with the grant, the funds are there for this project. And at this point, really what we need to do is just consider another building to put the solar on. We've had some preliminary discussions with some of the members there in regards to the office right next door, or potentially the water treatment plant. So just wanted to get everybody's thoughts on that. You know, I don't know that I'll speak too much on the grant and where that stands. I think I can leave that to you guys. But in my professional opinion and things I've seen before, I think moving away from the DPW building, one big reason is the existing warranty on that roof, and the fact that there's potential it could get voided just to complete the testing. The office roof is, from what I believe, a standing seam. And with a standing seam roof, there are no penetrations. We can fit roughly the same system size on that office roof. Now, the production will be slightly less just due to an east-west orientation as opposed to true south-facing. But that's really, to me, the closest best option. We don't know much about the water treatment plant. I know it was mentioned in our previous meeting, but that could be an option as well. We just have to get some more details around the existing roof and potentially the electrical that exists there.
Gonna be ground mounted?
This would be roof mounted.
And if you ground mounted.
Oh, yes, it can be ground mounted. It just depends on what building we're putting it near. The original RFP that was put out was for a roof mounted system that was tied into an existing electrical service. So we can do a ground mount. It's just what building are we going to tie into? I know there was discussion about the land adjacent to the office that we could potentially use that, which, we're open to exploring all these options. I think at this point, the biggest thing to move this forward, not only for the grant money that was received by you guys to make sure that, that continues and we can close that out, but just where's the best fit for the solar project, right? Roof mount, I can, if anyone has any concerns or questions, I could speak on that. But a ground mount is absolutely an option. We just need to find the right location for it. There was mention that it was a brownfield next to the office, which with current environmental reviews on ground mounts specifically, trying to install in a brownfield or any area close to potentially an endangered species, could be anything as much as a bat to a caterpillar. We've experienced it all. So just those are certain things to think about trying to do a ground mount on a brownfield or in other areas like that. It is small enough that if you guys were to move it along as a level 2 project as opposed to requiring a seeker review and everything along those lines. But, from my perspective, knowing it's a brownfield, I don't think that would be the right move. We'd have to find maybe another location to install the ground mount, but we would just need a service to tie into to make sure that you guys can properly allocate any generation to potentially other buildings owned by the town, or that site may potentially just consume all the power generated.
If it was a ground mount, how big is this unit?
So the system that was originally proposed was a 75 kilowatt DC system. So I'm trying to give you some context here. You may be looking at an area of around quarter to half of an acre with fencing and area around it. I mean, maybe not even that big. We just got to make sure that we design the system to be able to fit in a certain area where it's not going to be shaded. There's no trees around that are going to shade the array. Because at the end of the day, we want to give you guys a system that is going to actually perform and not just a way to spend grant dollars, right? Like,
Right.
We want to make sure it works. So,
And if you ground mount, we're in a floodplain everywhere. You have to raise those boxes, those panels up, VFD plus 2 or whatever.
It's more than that now, it's 500, right?
The floodplain thing is definitely a concern. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the other question from the back. I did hear the floodplain note. But...
No, you just said the level is higher because now it's the 500-year flood instead of the 100-year flood.
Yeah, and 2025 building codes, they also come into factor here, which is what's been implemented for New York State. And even with the DPW garage, that's another thing. Snow loads have also increased this year now that the new code is being adopted. So a pitched roof like the office, or maybe a more robust structure with a better decking. I mean, the decking that exists on the DPW garage could end up being sufficient. My concern is the amount of money it's going to take to find that out, with still an unknown of will it actually be sufficient.
Sewer plant, we have the same issue. Those buildings aren't exactly new.
Yeah,
Those roofs are way older.
yeah, the sewer plant, we have anything older roofs over there.
Are you structured as part of the unit system?
I don't believe it's.
There's no, it's like
It's kind of like a canopy on top almost.
So I have an analysis from a different solar company that we got when we were scoping out what buildings and where to put a system. And so the system size that another company came up with, because of the pitch and the orientation of the roof, they thought that they could do like basically a 55 kilowatt
total DC system size. So it's a little less, but
Was like, we'd be, supplying all the electric for this building behind the meter. And, it's really still a smart, thing. We would lose some space, like it shows like where we would have, where we'd be able to have panels, orientating towards the sun on it. So it's still like a very viable idea. They would come up with their own design for it with, where like, any exhaust pipes stick out and stuff, we, have to like go around.
Is that on the DPW building as well?
No, this is just on this building here.
The
We're
office
sitting
building?
in, the office building, yeah.
Yeah, so, and I think we actually explored that option. I don't know if we actually shared our proposal version of that with you, but we do have a preliminary design on that building because originally when we had the concern of the DPW's decking and just the extent of testing that would need to take place, we did do a preliminary design. I don't have that right now. I can share that with you guys definitely, and you guys can make a decision on that. But we could also look for higher wattage panels, so that way we can get a bigger DC system size, right? Like it depends on what wattage module you use, as well as inverters versus micro inverters. And the biggest thing for us is we can work within the budget, if there are certain changes that need to be made. Typically ballasted racking is a little bit cheaper than flush mount racking for pitched roofs like that. But I think that we can get you a pretty close system size to what was originally proposed in the grant, even on that office roof, if we use the right panels with a higher wattage.
Excellent.
Fred, what do you really think about this?
I would like to see it underground. I don't want to see it in the buildings, the roofs. What happens if in future you gotta pay somebody to come here and take this all off if something happens? I just don't understand why we can't make it on the ground. Fence it in. We have enough room out here. Anything can happen out here. Put a fence around it.
I mean, aside from the brownfield, like.
No,
we're getting
on our property.
Yeah, our property.
Our own property, where we got it.
I'm not a big fan of putting something on a roof. And then you're gonna pay another contractor how much to take it back off if something happens.
I'd be interested to see how expensive the ground option is, because like, obviously, we gotta raise these things up, like, almost as tall as the building.
Well, you figure you're what they say 2 feet here? At the 100 here? I don't know what the 500. I don't know what the yeah,
plus 3, I think,
now.
I believe.
I mean, we're pretty well.
Is that?
We're not, if we are a little bit lower, we're not much.
Plus 3?
The bottoms of the panels need to be, BFE +2.
Right, but they have a pillar that they can put them on.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this building is, well, this was a 100-year flood though, but this building is BFE plus 2 or 3, and like, there's only 4 or 5 steps out there to go up.
Correct.
Maybe it's not huge.
That's why I don't think it's gonna be that much for your 500 out there. I mean, like I said, they have pillars that they can set these on and get you out of however high you need to go. And then put a fence around it.
Yeah,
Can I also, I would just like to ask,
Because it's gonna cost us more money in the future, I believe.
I agree. If you gotta replace a roof, it's gonna be a nightmare.
Absolutely.
Just a minute, Ben, you'll get in there in a minute.
yeah, no problem.
Mike, tell him.
Ben, you can go ahead. What do you?
Yeah, so the ground mount option is definitely viable, and I don't want to discourage anyone against it. It's just with environmental review, with current government structure, there would be some certain variance board approvals required by the town. Now, I don't know exactly who on this board here would be a part of that variance board approval, but New York State standard has certain limits to the lowest level a panel can be mounted to the highest. And, all in all, the ground mount option to raise any foundation up higher, being in a floodplain, it's one thing. Obviously, there's the 100 to 500 year flood adjustment, but being in a floodplain is also just a concern in regards to the seeker. NY Sun requires a seeker study to be done for all ground mounts. So to get through that review process, in my experience, it would just come from an approval from the town signing off on a letter to approve that ground mount system as something that doesn't require seeker. But the NY Sun program does require. And are you guys? I'm sorry. Are you guys familiar with a seeker review, environmental?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure. All right, I just want to make sure that I'm not just missing that point there. But you know, definitely possible. We can explore that option. Not opposed to it, but cost wise, yes, I think that the office roof being a standing seam, there's no penetrations. The savings from the solar itself would go a long way. Uh, Even removal of systems later on. Now, we're talking 20, 25 years down the road that you would really need to consider removing a system. So I guess it's future planning, but looking at the cost savings over the length of the system is important as well.
Laura's got something, but could we work up like the two options, like, you know, real, like what we're looking at on the roof versus what we're really looking at on the ground next door to the roof? Laura?
So, NYSERDA's contractor, what do we call it? The project manager for NYSERDA indicated that it would be possible for us to change to the different building because of the structural issues. But we need to make our decision as soon as possible because we have to submit a request to modify the contract with them. And we're 6 months past our due date. And we did get an extension, but we need to do it before the end of our 6-month extension. And so that's going to be, we have to have our deliverables in by March 30th. And that includes the executed contract, a completed SUN application, and they need certain information to be able to get that SUN application in, and the metrics workbook. So I don't think we have time to investigate buying land that we don't own, that's a, brownfield.
No,
We're not talking about right out here in front of the salt shed, in front of the crab shed, right out here.
On our own property that we already got.
Doesn't mean that that's a good idea, but that's what we're talking about, not the brownfield.
Mm-hmm. It's like the whole back parking lot here.
Well, that's what we don't know how big it would actually be. Like, we would need to see like a real, like a square.
So Ben said possibly a ground one might be a half to a quarter to a half of an acre. I just blasted down a third of an acre just for thing, and an acre is about 43,000. That's about 14,000 square feet. 100 by 140. I'm just, to get a feel of the size.
Right.
Yeah, that's fairly accurate there with those numbers. So, and there's setback requirements to adjacent property lines, and I think that with the town being the owner of the project, there's movement on that. But as Laura mentioned, the time frame on the grant is also, just something to consider there.
Yeah, that's the driving factor. So we've got to show movement by March 30th.
But yeah,
Deliverables
have to be in.
Everything's got to be in as far as to keep getting the money. So
That's how they get you.
that's how they get you. So,
Mr. Mayor,
I need to move. Trustee.
following up, the mayor said, how much trouble is it for you to, it doesn't have to be perfect, but for you to give us a general feel of the possibility of putting a system on this roof or putting one next door on the ground. Can you kind of do that for us?
Yeah, so I already have, I think, the roof mount system designed. I can probably by tomorrow, I can give you the size it will be as far as the footprint is concerned, and as well as the system size itself, because obviously there's some grants things with how big of a system that they have allocated funds for. So our goal is to match it, be the exact same either way. But yeah, I can probably let you know by end of day tomorrow how big of a footprint it'll have and what system size we can do.
I'll ask a little different question, but the same question. So our next board meeting is February 17th. if we figure this out and make a decision on February 17th, whether we put it on this roof or put it on the ground, does that give you guys enough time before March 30th to get all this stuff, the deliverables we're talking about in?
To be transparent on the ground mount side, I don't believe so, because it sounds like a variance board review from the town would need to take place in order to allow that ground mount with property setbacks and the floodplain and approving it as level 2. Now, I'm not saying that you guys couldn't push that forward and get that done a little bit quicker. And this is, and for context, Buffalo Solar, we've done ground mounts, but we predominantly do roof mounts. As far as permitting is concerned and environmental review and just overall functionality of a system and cost, steel comes from, depending on where we get it, we can go American made. Sometimes it comes from Canada. There are some heavy tariffs from Canada right now. As far as roof mount, flush mount racking, it is manufactured in the United States, and there's large inventory on that. So there are a lot of factors there. As far as the difference in cost for you guys, yes, I can get that over to you by the end of the day tomorrow. But I don't know if waiting till February 17th to make the next decision is gonna, unless NYSERD is willing to grant you another extension. But I don't have those answers. I don't know that they will, because there's already been a few, and in my experience, they kind of start to really want to move things forward. If they see a path forward, they're going to suggest that we take it.
Okay. I mean, another option is that we schedule like an extra meeting next Monday or something like that, just to hammer this out. I think we can do that, Rusty.
So the variances that he's talking about, would that be through our zoning board of appeals? And not that we can't tell them what to do, but we can certainly get them to call a meeting quickly. If we need something, we can ask them to do that.
I'm not sure that you need a variance at this point, though.
Okay.
I mean,
You'd have to have a design.
yeah, you need the design to know if there's anything within setbacks or if the height limit's being exceeded. I don't know what the zone is over there, so I mean, possible. It's fine. If it's industrial property, we don't even need to do secret, it's type 2 action.
I think it is business or industrial here.
Yeah, I'll double check, because I want to know. Make sure all of our stuff is business or industrial.
It is, but I just don't know which one it is, whether it's business or industrial. Or industrial here.
But, I mean, so there's just, without having a better design, we don't know whether or not you need the zoning board to actually meet on this.
Well, Ben said that they needed something for the sun application, that they needed the approvals for.
The industrial over there. Here and there.
So it would require site plan approval then.
Yeah.
So certainly. Now, you, as the village board, can make yourself immune from your own zoning. And that would include site plan approval.
No, we usually don't do that, but we could.
You usually don't do that, but that's something you could do. I'd suggest holding a public hearing on it, generally preferred. But then just find that you are immune from your own zoning and assessments. But again, you still need to see the plans and, right?
So Ben, you've been listening to this. We're talking amongst ourselves about how many of these things we have to do and how fast we could do them if we decided to go in that direction. That's what
Absolutely. Yeah. And I just wanted to, just let you guys know, in my experience with the ground mount approvals recently with the environmental review has been our biggest hurdle. Couple projects have kind of hit a wall due to variance board approvals. In a town close to me, obviously I can't disclose all that information, but like just recently, close by us, we had a ground mount shut down due to New York State's requirement for certain seeker, or, you mentioned the property zoned industrial. Is that right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. So that's a step in the right direction there, but Yeah, NY Sun does require either a town's essentially approval of a ground mount project and not requiring a seeker study. So it would have to be a signed document from the town to give to NYSERDA for them to approve a ground mount, which is most commonly, honestly, found in residential. But with your town, if you guys think you can make that happen, then we can go that way.
This is a type 2 action. It's a currently disturbed area, site zone for industrial use, where the installation will involve 25 acres or less of alteration. So it would just be a resolution by the village board finding that it's a type 2 action.
Exactly.
I mean, that's easy. That's not anything harder.
We just have to get all this stuff straight so we can
Right.
figure out these two options and what other options we have. So we need to know the detail.
I mean, I do have concern, we only have so much land to play with. We willing to give up a quarter to a half acre of potential building when we're looking at shared services or something of that sort? I mean, the roof's not ideal, but it doesn't occupy land space.
That is very true. But it could cost you a lot more in the long run.
Do you typically put these kind of systems on, like this is a brand new metal roof? You put them on brand new metal roofs all the time?
Yes, honestly, that's the ideal scenario. The whole goal for a roof mounted PV system is to have the roof be as new as possible. So that way, lifespan on a standing seam roof is substantially longer than a PV system. But I've come across many sites where the roof is old, and if you have to replace it within 5 years, 10 years, that's where you start to kind of weigh your options there. Do you replace it now? Do you wait? With how new that roof is, it really is, and it's standing seam, which I will say, and I don't know, can anyone confirm that? Because I'm looking at kind of Google Earth and those types of images.
No, but we could, I mean, we don't have those.
Okay, so yeah, standing seam doesn't require any penetrations. We're not going to drill any holes. It's all essentially set screw, if anyone's familiar with that term, where it's more of a connection that's pinching against the metal and doesn't break or chip the paint. It's really a great solution for commercial rooftops, and standing seam is an ideal case right there because the lifespan on standing seam is much longer than corrugated metal.
Brad, do you know which type this is?
No, I do not. I don't, what's the standing seam?
So standing seam would be more of a
Galley?
L shape, not a valley. If it's a valley, that's corrugated metal where it's maybe every 11, 12 inches, there's kind of like more of a gradual slope. Standing seam is more of a rigid metal to metal where it kind of just bends over itself, and that creates the seal on the roof.
This is Valley.
Okay. So with that being said, I'm still okay with Valley as well. Standing seam is great, but we hold warranties on our attachments where the screws go in. So it's not a bad option there by any means. We would have a warranty on our penetrations. I do have to review the length of the warranty that was originally proposed on the, and I'm going to see if I can look at that right now. So all of our attachment points would be under our warranty. I just want to see the time frame we have on this one. Nate, do you recall that from the contract, reviewing that at all? Or Laura?
15 years.
I thought it was 15.
Yeah, it's 15 years on all the components.
Yeah, and the concern was that it had a $50,000 max cost that you folks would actually cover for repairs or, repairs.
Yeah. Yeah, so the roofing manufacturer Wouldn't necessarily have any issues with our attachments. They're all approved to go into all roofing materials as far as corrugated metal is concerned. We do have a 15-year warranty on all of our attachment points, the solar panels, the inverters, any obviously workmanship, right? Like, we take pride in the quality of our work, but some of the things where most commercial inverters are going to have a 5-year warranty, we're offering 15. Panels have that 25-year.
That's
Go ahead.
even with a roof leak?
What's that?
That's even with a roof leaking? The 15
Oh
year?
yeah, it would cover the roof leaking too. And if it turned out that our attachment points were poorly installed and it caused a severe damage to the roof to the extent that it needs to be replaced, then that would be covered under the warranty as well. Now, I haven't seen these attachment points leak on these metal roofs. I wonder more about the asphalt attachment points sometimes myself, but these metal attachment points, they have a um, gasket on the foot of the attachment, as well as all the screws are gasketed. Nice solid seal there. Just like any corrugated metal roof, there are screws that send it home. Now, those screws are rated for the lifespan of the system, of the roof. However, the gaskets are typically not rated for that long, and covering them with solar does help with that. It won't let the sun deteriorate the rubber gaskets on the screws. But, that's honestly, from my side of things, I don't really see an issue with installing in this type of roof. I'll send you guys pictures of our other installs if you'd like to speak to any of our existing customers. We do have referrals and case studies and things like that. So, whatever you guys need, I can provide for you.
I would like to see pictures of it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You understand our concern too, a brand new building, new roof and everything else, and you're gonna pull holes in it.
Yeah, trust me, I've been there, right? And it's something in my mind because the biggest thing, if it's not installed properly, that's when you're concerned, right? Like all of these things are meant to be installed a certain way. And, we actually were able to obtain NYSERDA gold status, which is, not perfect installations, but darn near. We've hit that. That's a big milestone for. There's not that many companies in all of New York State, so quality is a big part of our installations, and that's why we offer a 15-year warranty. I don't know if you guys have spoken to other companies or gotten other proposals in your RFP, but most are not offering a 15-year warranty. And on our side of things, it's not necessarily the manufacturer warranty is the manufacturer warranty. We honor our installation and coming back and being with you guys through the whole process, whether it be a leak, which, as I mentioned, I don't see on these metal roofs like that, or an underproducing panel, a faulty inverter, that's all part of the package.
What else do we have?
So we're looking to do something this meeting or wait till the next meeting. I am curious about the land option, but I really had to give up that real estate.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the only, we don't have any other building to put it in. Maybe sewer plant, but those buildings are probably in worse shape than the DPW.
Yeah, that tin roof is rusted, looks like holes in the sides and everything over there.
So really, the only other option is this roof or the ground or not do anything.
Why can't you find somebody that's more professional with the ground thing? Is this the only option?
Because we've already awarded them the contract.
It's not to get you.
Mike, so our next step is to get some more information from them soon.
Yeah, so
Potential two things.
does that timeline check, we still don't know about if the timeline will work for the ground thing, but would that timeline work for this roof, and obviously we can check into the ground thing at the same time. But if we come back and give you a definite go-ahead on whatever date I said, the 17th, which is our next meeting, as the 16th is President's Day. So the meeting will be the 17th. You would have enough time to get all deliverables around and into NYSERDA so that everything keeps moving by that March date, right?
Yeah, so we can definitely, I think if I give you the quotes both way, both ground mount and roof mount by tomorrow, and the size, the footprint it'll be, and everything else, then yeah, if we wait till the 17th, and just to echo that, it's not that we can't do a ground mount, it's that the time frame allotted for your grant that you guys have been rewarded is what's really in jeopardy here. I know that's one of the biggest factors here, and that's really where I'm coming from. Ground mount, very much possible. We can handle it. We'll do it for you. To pivot to that at this stage is a little late, and it's possible, but we just need the extensions by NYSERDA.
Could we try a short meeting on Monday the 9th, just to cover this subject? And make a decision?
Good, if you guys want to do that.
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm kind of aggravated because we brought this roof up over there years ago. And now here we are coming to fruition where, hey, surprise, it's not gonna work. Like, we're on a timeline because we allowed ourselves to be put on this timeline.
Well, the building next door, we didn't have a structural assessment for.
We
because
all
we were-
knew that was not gonna hold. And here we are.
That's not true.
That
it
is
wouldn't
exactly
hold it.
true. That building is 1960, we all knew it. We asked the question and we were ignored. So I'm aggravated that we're at this point.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
so can we schedule a meeting for Monday? And depending on what information we get, we don't have to follow through on the meeting on Monday.
Yeah.
Should we do that just to be ahead of the curve? Is that a good plan? So we'll schedule a meeting on Monday at 7 o'clock.
Second.
So let's vote on that, let's just have a meeting on Monday. Just to, Rusty.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
Carl. And yes. So we will finish this up. Obviously, get us the info as far as the roof and the ground. And then we'll meet on Monday at 7 o'clock. And then decide away so we can get everything squared away.
And Ben's gonna try to get you that stuff tomorrow.
Right.
Would you guys need me on the meeting on Monday, just so I'm clear?
Yeah,
Yes.
as long as you can be. But, it'll be the same way.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right. So next, we've got, I think it's Sam from Hunt about the LPD grant. Who is it?
All right, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
We can hear Sam.
All right. So yeah, I'm here to talk a little bit about the Owego PD project that we opened bids on January 21st. Give you some background information. We did have a recommendation letter sent over earlier today, and just kind of answer some questions for you guys. So to give a summary of where we're at right now, we had 4 bids that came in on January 21st. We had a low bid from Haroon General Contracting at about $351,000, and that ranged all the way up to a high bid of $1 million, just over $1 million from Best Restoration Services. So,
would you tell us the other two?
The other 2 bidders were Williams Construction at $587,000 and ICC Commonwealth Corporation at $772,000. So we had quite a spread that appeared. And there were some discrepancies in the bidding documents submitted. So in addition to, the actual bid form, their contractors are required to submit their bid bonds, which all contractors did. And then there's some other forms that are typically provided at the time of bid. However, one of the issues that we're going to be talking about tonight is the fact that the low bidder did not submit their New York State Department of Labor certificate of registration. Now, they did provide their number, and they did submit that document to me within 24 hours after the bid opening, but they did not have it at the time of bid. So that is a slight discrepancy. All of the contractors did provide that form. And
we think you have to mention that the bid packet itself says if this form is not submitted at the time of bidding, the bid would be rejected.
Correct. Yeah, that is stated in a specification regarding the wage rate requirements.
Which one is that on this list?
Nothing.
350.
This one on the bottom. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so the big question tonight is whether or not this is a contract that we would like to proceed with awarding, as it really is, at this point in time, the only workable bid that we have here. The Williams Construction as the next lowest bidder at $587. We can't really modify that amount without jumping through some hoops. So part of the SHPO EPF funded nature of this project, we do have to have everything reviewed and approved. So any changes to the documents set from here forward would require another SHPO review process. So, I'm acting in the best interest of getting this project awarded. And, there obviously is this concern on the low bid. However, I think there's the potential to either accept that as a discrepancy in the bid or potentially rebid the project as is to allow that low bid contractor, Haroon, to submit all documents that they are required to.
Sam, what was the grant funding? Like, just to recap, it was like for the board, how much we got, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, sure, yeah. So the total grant amount was a match fund from the village to the state, and I'm just pulling this up right now. The total amount was loading here for me. $625,811. Of that amount, $81,164 are for incidental or your professional services and administrative costs. So that leaves us a construction budget of $544,000. And I recommend a rough 10% contingency for construction due to the, historic nature of the building, and you never know what you uncover until you do it. So that puts us at kind of a awardable contract amount of maxing out at $490.
Okay. So that 351 is within the 490, absolutely.
Absolutely. So with that low bid of 351, we're also able to award the alternate number 2, which is for the reconstruction of the basement shed. With the other bids on hand, we certainly wouldn't be able to award that.
Right, because the next bid puts you above that construction budget. What was alternate number 1 is light pole replacement? Is that just the light pole out front?
Yeah, there's 2 decorative light poles out front of the police station there. So that's what that first alternate was for, replacement of those.
This Haroon out of Staten Island.
Yes.
It has a very negative reviews from a lot of people.
Yeah, it's Haroon, general contractor, Staten Island.
Yeah, poor workmanship, not showing up, sloppy. There's just a lot of negative, this is just what companies have said about them, they hire them.
So I did conduct
This is not a review though of their responsibility as a contractor. So, either you reject them because you find that the failure to submit the departmental labor certification is material, or you accept it.
I was saying that it shows their responsibility to the process, I would say we just exclude them from this process.
But we do have to, we have to show the thing, and Nate is telling us what
Yeah,
we would have to show.
bid documents require their submission to be rejected. That is how the bid packet was written. They failed to submit it.
So if we reject them, then we have to basically rebid the whole thing because we can't modify the next lowest bid to be within the budget without, within requirements of the bidding process. We have to let them know. Right, or anybody, could not have to be them, it could be anybody, it could be anybody, right.
Or you go through and modify the project to take scope out, but that, as mentioned, would require SHPO to review again, which theoretically runs into grant timelines for them. You have to get an extension as well, I believe.
So when we rebid it, we either rebid exactly what we already put out, or if we modify it, we get everything, as Sam and Nate are saying, get everything approved again.
Correct.
Fast to do.
We stuck again.
Or you can authorize additional funding for the projects in excess of what you have available through the grant.
Right, to accept the 587. Right, because if we disqualified the 351, the next lowest would be 587.
Right, and that would mean based on what you're being advised is appropriate for a contingency, you want to authorize another, probably, what's that, $97,000, called $100,000 out of that.
Just so you know, if you looked at that sheet, Williams Construction, which was the second highest bidder, they're only the highest, second because of their masonry work of their square footage.
Say that again.
On their masonry work, on their square footage, is they're $170 a square foot. Everybody else is 30 to 40. But everywhere else, they matched Huron, however you say their names.
Huron.
And they're out of Elmira.
Pine City.
Pine City.
Yeah, that those are going to be the one of the differences.
That's their biggest, why there's so much more. Well, you also have to look at it also, and I kind of agree with Ron to an extent, but the people that won the bid, I mean, that's in the line of scope that we can afford.
I mean, they all bid on the same project.
Yes. But
But I mean, I just want to remind people of the sewer plant project that we had too, and they
Agreed.
did us in the rear.
They did
Agreed.
with change orders
Agreed.
Change orders are always what makes me
Agreed.
concerned.
But if you look at it, everything is the same pricing from all the contractors, other than the masonry work.
pretty much, and
That's 4 times higher than I am.
Exactly.
That's pretty high.
Somewhere that I don't think like zeros in.
Well, it wouldn't be $17 a square foot.
No, I meant they're figuring it out when they come up with their square footages.
Okay,
I mean, that's quite a bit high compared to the other three.
yeah.
That's what, 3 times, 4 times.
4 times, yes, yes, that is. Plus a little.
Mhm. That's my own concern. But I like the idea that they're in our budget.
the second lowest bid, like with the contingency, would be about 647,000. That's with none of the alternates. As far as the shed or the light poles. Plus, we also have a pretty hefty match on this thing.
Mr. Mayor?
Rusty.
I agree with Mr. Pelton. I believe that we should reject the ran bid because they did not follow one of the processes. We should be talking with Fred and with others. If we have a meeting next Monday, we should be, or tonight, be ready to do whatever it is we're gonna do next.
So either Williams would provide price concessions, which is something that can be agreed on, but they just agree to provide us the same work for less. Or you probably end up rebidding the project.
So how does that work then? That they can be just the bidder? I just want to understand what you're saying.
About rebidding.
Williams, you said that they can restructure it?
Concessions.
No, they can just say, oh, all right, we'll charge you less. That's okay, because they would be the
Without bidding? Without?
They would be the current lowest bidder by rejecting Maroon because of the failure to provide the required labor law certification.
So that's pretty much what we said, Sam, right?
Yeah, so after talking with Williams, they are able to reduce their cost at scope reduction. However, they're not really in a position to be able to just arbitrarily lower their numbers and do the same scope of work.
So that's the issue, is if it's scope reduction, depending on how significant of a reduction in scope we're talking about, it could materially change the project enough that you do in fact have to rebid it. So like, you can't just say, all right, well, we're gonna lose a third of the project now. That's a different project.
And everybody gets to rebid on it because their numbers might be
Right.
lower.
That's another pain in the butt.
6 weeks.
So should we vote on whether or not we reject
You do need to vote.
Iran's
Yeah.
bid?
Yes, you should vote on that.
Do we have a motion to
Move to reject Orion's bid due to the lack of process.
Second.
vote on that? This is just, are we gonna reject that bid or not?
And it's for failure to provide the Department of Labor certification.
Which in the bidding packet said you had to do that.
Says you have to reject it.
And we're gonna reject it. So, Fran,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
John? Yeah. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. Okay, so now that we've rejected that, now we probably either rebid this thing as it was or modify scope. Or not do it all.
Right, so I think the part of the issue would be confirming, can you get, would SHPO agree to an extension in light of the fact that the bids came in higher than what the budget for the project is, which means we need to reduce scope in order to likely have bids come in at, within the budget.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, but isn't this already the second bid?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is the second time we bid the project out, and as far as I'm aware, the grant monies do need to be spent by the end of 2026. So there is a little room for another rebid in this scenario, but it is cutting it very close, and I still would try to reach out to get that extension, just so that we're a little bit safer than sorry.
So I have a question. I guess I'm a little slow on this. Could we go back to Williams after we just rejected this bid to see for part of the scope that they can come down on? Is that legal or not? I guess I don't understand.
You're mixing reducing scope with offering price concessions. I'll build you a house that's 2,000 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
At $100 a square feet. If I say I'll do it for $80 a square feet, you're still getting a 1,000 square foot house, whatever I said.
Correct.
If I say, oh, I'm gonna give you a 900 square foot house, that's a change in the scope. The building's smaller. So I'd say you need to rebid the scope reduction, but somebody can offer price concession.
I'm just saying because he was so high. I didn't know. That's what I'm asking.
Again, it's a question of degree. I mean, you can do a post-award change order that does take out scope, but again, you can't change projects.
Right, I'm not asking to change the project.
I don't know if there's anything that's easy to take out that won't change the project fundamentally and still get you under budget.
And at 490 is what we, after other stuff is what we have now, and his is 587, he's not gonna drop it 200 grand. I mean, he might drop it something, but he's not gonna do that at the same scope.
We really need to stick something with it.
I'm just saying, that's so much higher.
Yeah.
So did you get your answer pretty much, Fred? Once
20%, I
again,
guess.
if we needed him to drop at 25, he might do that, but he's not gonna drop a bazillion.
I understand it, but he's in the ballpark of every other scope of this project,
Except that one.
except that one. And that would drop it down quite a bit
I mean,
if he got down to where the normal people are bidding this.
it doesn't hurt to ask him to it.
That's what I didn't know if that's legal to do.
Yeah,
That's, again, yeah, you can ask him about this discrepancy, hey, you came in really high on this.
That's what I'm asking.
Can you offer us a lower price? If he says, yeah, sure, oh yeah, that was an error,
That's what I'm
then
getting at.
that's fine.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
That's exactly what
I
I'm
said you
saying.
could do that, because he's still gonna provide the same.
Did you hear that, Sam?
Yeah, so I did touch base on that in terms of, because they did provide the unit pricing for the masonry work. Now that is the addition of that work. That's not quantifying the price per unit of the work in the contract as it is. And he did indicate that that was an addition price, not a deduction price. So he would have a different cost to reduce out the masonry work. However, he was confident that he could reduce the masonry work along with some other items like removing the gutters and the painting of the brackets to get us to the right dollar amount. But, I think going off of what Nathan's saying, it's certainly changing the materials and the scope of the project. So he did confirm that, just taking masonry out per that number would not get us to our amount.
We're already stressing our budget to make this match.
well, yeah, that's the other thing, like we already are stretching, like we've got 150,000, we've got a match. Got the number.
If it's 625, we're gonna owe 156 something, and they're gonna give us 469 something to get to that thing. So that's the same, we've known this all along.
Mike, how much was it, Matt?
A lot.
Our match?
Yeah.
Approximately 156 grand that's a quarter of 625.
So with the rejection of the low bid, Haroon, the options moving forward really are rebid the project as is in the hopes that we could get another bid from Haroon to, be within our budget. But what we're seeing from other bids on this last go around is that project scope is a little bit out of range. So it's unlikely that we would get another contractor to be within our range on this rebid as is scenario. So then, that leads us to the option of repackaging and changing the scope and going through that ship over process again. And, we would be cutting out a lot more of the project into alternates to protect, our overall budget. Realistically, that's a time frame of about 45 days from now. We could have that project put back out to bid if everything goes right.
So if you keep the total scope, I'll say the same, but you break everything into alternates, will that be an issue with SHPO? Because SHPO presumably wants like certain work done, definitely.
Yeah, so the big chunk of the project that we're going to keep as base bid is the windows. That's kind of what everyone has expressed the highest need for. We certainly wouldn't be chunking it all into alternates, but we would identify at least 2 more that would protect that bid number. The alternates for SHPO actually work to our benefit because if we don't award them, we don't have to go through that review process again. When they look at the project overall and they say, okay, this is this is the work that you're potentially doing. If you don't award some of it, that's not necessarily a change to them. So it's kind of a good scenario. There is also a chance, now I can't say this definitively because the regional grant administrator we're working with hasn't done this exactly, but if we were to just keep the project scope as is, but identify new alternates, There is a chance that that could be an expedited review from SHPO. But like I said, I can't speak to that being 100% the case. It's just a potential.
But if we took the current scope and just made more things alternates, then SHPO would be okay with that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a chance that they would be willing to expedite that review of it, but I don't have a guarantee statement that's the case.
Mr. Mayor. Yeah. So Sam, do any of these bids break down how much of the bid is for the windows?
No, so that typically would come from a schedule of values, which we don't get until the contractor is awarded the project. But what I can say is that from the D-Scope meetings I had with Haroon and Williams, the reason that Haroon is coming in so much lower is that they have a lot tighter of a crew, and they're self-performing all of the work. So there's not any subcontractors associated to it, and they're able to keep their fee and their costs very minimal. All bidders, though, submitted on the exact window that was specified. What I don't know is what that window cost was for each contractor.
Okay. So I mean, they are bidding the same, like, we're not gonna get a different window from Peru than we would from Best Restorations at over $1 million.
So they didn't tell us, do we have some idea what we think that piece is? Probably not.
Yeah, so I think we have, kind of a rough budgetary number that we had in our minds, which was something in the, now I don't have this handy information, but I believe it was in the $4,000 window type of time consideration for the Marvin aluminum clad wood window that SHPO approved.
Okay.
So I guess. So do we explore that with SHPO to see if, as far as the switching more things to alternates, like if that's an option with the timeline? And then obviously we're gonna have to rebid it, but.
Do you think you could have an answer from SHPO prior to the special board meeting of the village on this, following Monday? Or do an expedited review, or?
Yeah, I think I could have some, I could pose a question to the regional grant administrator and see what her initial feedback would be. I can certainly have that for the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue.
That might be the best path, and then we'll know which way to go.
Mike, so I deliver the obvious, because I like to put things down into, these are our choices. So one choice is to get Williams to do it cheaper. The next choice is to rebid it in some form, either with the alternates or less scope of whatever we decide to do or whatever SHPO will let us to do. And then, of course, the last choice is we don't do it. Right. That's pretty much have I pretty much got them all?
That might be something to ask that grant administrator too, Sam, is if we decide the third option, if we just don't do it, what does that? Like, obviously, we've already spent money.
Well, that's what I always like to ask when and PRI projects and on this and with Sam from Hunt. If we decided tomorrow we weren't gonna do this, what hard monies are we already obligated for and would be obligated for?
Okay. Yep, we can certainly ask that. Because I think from the village's perspective, you've paid out fee to my company for the design of the project. I think there's some costs associated to bidding the project in terms of local paper postings and such like that. So there certainly is money that has been spent to this point. But I can ask that question to clarify, what it would be the responsibility moving forward if we were to.
Yeah, money spent and money that would be further obligated because of things that we said we'd do already. Well, it's just another piece to know when we're making decisions.
Because I mean, this is the second, this is the second go around with the bidding. I remember the first time they came in way too high. Alright. So we'll follow up with you between now and Monday, Sam, and then have a way forward on Monday.
Absolutely. And I will notify the bidders that this go around is being rejected.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Unless Williams.
Well, yeah, unless they come down on their price. You already asked them to, so.
Yeah, I can ask that question again to have a better answer of it for you all. Like I said, they were looking at total scope deletion rather than just sharpening the pencil.
Which that we can't do, but if they want to just give us a discount, we can accept that.
And then kill us with the add-ons.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Sam.
All right, thank you all.
All right, let's finally move to department heads, so we need to get out of here with policy. Wake up for it.
Let's see. For the month of January, all of in approximately 219,000 gallons of septic for about $19,000 operation costs. Big thing was had a meeting with Ron, our commissioner, and Nate about changing things in code and charter book that had been in there since the 60s and with some provisions in the 80s. The main thing is we're looking at the pricings that are in there. Not hugely relevant, but these pricings were set back 70 years ago. Other big thing in there is changing some of the language in the sewer section, specifically the ones that are always referring to Superintendent of Public Works being in one department back then, to Director of Utilities, giving us at the sewer department a little more bite for offenses, citations, illegal discharges. We'd be working with the county and code and the district attorney's office.
I believe we addressed that in the last meeting, Rick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did that resolution.
Okay.
Surprise.
I should be paying attention.
Well, you wasn't here, so you meeting that, not the department was here, so.
She also mentioned that we're investigating the haul revenue versus cost of operation and whether it's even worth it anymore. We have to sit down and crunch some numbers. Something since the meeting I've come to find out is the DEC is taking a sharper look at plants that are taking septic haulers and in relation to PFAS and heavy metals and all that stuff. So with that weighing on there, that has to get put into the equation, along with energy costs skyrocketing and all the other costs.
Chemicals also go up pretty much every year, don't they?
Every year, all of them across the board. The big thing, we are the biggest electricity consumer, and having multiple buildings all absorbing more and more energy for something that's probably 2 times more consumption than just handling the village alone. So.
Definitely should be looked at, or maybe the rate.
The rate thing is, I'm trying to dig into, because what can we do to try to bring the rate to a point where we're gonna push everybody away, and then just spiraled downwards again.
Dirk, we had the energy analysis done of your facilities. Did it give you the number of what the haulers section costs and electric costs?
The electric part is,
Probably does say on there.
I mean, you might be able to figure out the station itself, but processing costs.
Great.
And that you have to try to get percentages of total
That's a
cost, which is kind of hard to figure out.
That's a good question. Like, we charge so much to bring in a gallon of sewage. Like, are we losing money on that? By the time it gets out the plant,
Right.
have we put more into it and lost money on it?
Yeah, and in order to try to gain that back, are we just gonna stop haulers from coming anyway and totally lose it?
Question is, we had that built on grant, are we required to take in septic as part of that grant opportunity?
No, that was just an option or a plan that would provide revenue.
There's all this new PFAS stuff that there was all new monkey wrench in the works.
And when the village decided 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it was, that they were going to, they were going to build a plant, we decided to build the biggest one because we wanted to be able to take in more stuff. I hear you saying that it's, we're processing twice as much stuff by the hauling in, but we did that on purpose to a degree, so that because we knew we would generally process this much of our own, and we wanted to be able to take in as much as we could. That being said, that's why we paid for the extra big plant, but at the same time, it has to be profitable. It can't be, when we bring that in and it messes our stuff up and we have to clean it and this and that and everything, it eventually becomes a loss. We can't do that.
And going online 5 years ago with this new station to now, through trials, tribulations, finger pulling, everything, we have not really increased our revenue in hauling, just because of the nature of the business. And we have one company that covers the whole northeast part of Pennsylvania. And they're our big moneymaker. To get anybody from that region, you're gonna run into rinky-dink amounts. Or TCSS Bodeck that covers the whole southern tier. You've got who you're gonna get, basically.
And once again, we understand that the dirtier that crap is, the more problem it is for us, and the less money we're gonna make out of the problems down the road. We get that same old problem.
Plus, there's webinars from the DEC about what they plan on doing in the future, and that's scary. Because one of the things we brought up is we're Class A, which is usual everywhere. DEC might decide that Class A isn't any better than Class C. And that's $150,000, $200,000 a year that we're paying to dispose of it now.
Which we used to pay, and then we got rid of it, Class A. Yeah.
And if we had to, if we reduce that amount by that 2/3.
We still have to take in a certain amount of septic, don't we, to keep the plant running efficiently, or?
We would try, well, I would talk to TPS, the ones that built us the system. And another thing that would save or whatever money is if we were only using Village, we could cut down one digester. Put everything into one. That would probably take up what we would be missing from haulers, plus the energy savings from not running machines 24/7.
How long would it be before that building became derelict and no longer usable? I mean, that's a lot of money to just let fall in.
Unless you like alternate them or something.
Oh, I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah, on all pieces of the cost analysis, all part of the thinking.
That's definitely something to look at, like, are we I don't know what our numbers are, but are we charging 10 cents a gallon and we're spending $1 a gallon to process it? I don't know.
Thank you for looking at those numbers, Dirk. I know it's not an easy job.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Mike?
30 calls for the month of January for the mutual aid other departments. We had a fire on Temple Street, brought in Lake and Air Valley, Danville, and Cyber Center. We honored our Captain Master Fire on the 21st. And we were wondering if we could use this building for our physicals on Saturday, April 25th at 8 a.m.
Eric, I can't hear you very good. Could you just speak a little loud? Thank you.
We're going to use this building on Saturday, April 25th at 8 a.m. for our physicals. It worked out very well last year.
Yeah, with the room, right?
Yeah.
No, it's right now. Only used on Saturday. Right.
That's it.
Is your Bob open the doors here?
No.
I can get it in there.
No,
Just remind me, I can.
So let one of us know, we'll get you.
Okay, thank you.
So Mike, if that's under your authority, fine. If it's not, then you need a motion to allow them to use the building.
What are we gonna do, doesn't matter.
I don't care, just whatever it needs to be done.
It's
It's your authority.
Yeah, it's fine, I mean, I can open the building, whatever. I'll put it in my calendar though, because I'll forget. I'll still forget what's in my calendar, but at least you'll tell me. That's also literally opening day. At the same time, so.
Yeah, from the doors last time.
One more quick question, because Laura and I write all this stuff down. What was the date in April again?
25th.
25th, thank you. 8 in the morning, thank you.
Right.
I put it in my calendar to open the door before I go to the parade.
Okay, thank you.
Nice to hand up. Yeah, I can, okay. There's your EMS. Oh, anybody have any for fire department? Or move on? EMS.
You can take 20 more minutes.
Before I start, I'll apologize, my corners are not rounded.
Oh.
I called out on a call, yeah.
Exactly. Your haircut, I think, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I went to the barber yesterday. So we had 127 calls for the month of January. 95 of them we were able to cover, 32 of them we missed. I didn't get a chance to figure out how many we had mutual aid. As far as personnel writing, gives you a breakdown of who has been both for compensated staff and volunteers. We're still waiting an answer for the civil service as far as Derek's potential job change and description and all that kind of stuff.
Did you fill out a duties description statement?
You put, I don't know.
We need to have a position duties description statement.
I think he did, and I think he sent that.
I'm not sure it was on the right, I think it was just an email, I don't remember.
Was it not in the right format?
Yeah, and I mean, I can't put it together because I don't know what you need or what you want. I mean, I could send you the form.
You have the form? All right, yes, please send that form to me.
Yeah, getting a position created is kind of a pain in the butt thing.
Let's see what else we have. Obviously, we're always in need of more volunteers and paid staff, so if you know anybody that wants to volunteer to drive the ambulance or be an EMT or wants to be a compensated member of the team, we're always looking for more help because we're always, shorthanded. We also got to work together to create contracts or something for our staff with their wages versus hours worked and that kind of stuff, now that we've had some changes within the department. So we need to get going with that. As far as vehicles go, 2031's got 33,000 miles running well. Fabulous news, after 14 months, we finally took possession of 2032. It has only 279 miles on it. Driven it from New Jersey. So we just put it into service this week, so it's going into rotation and that kind of stuff. Still have a few little things we need to do, but they don't keep it from being in service. 2033, as we know, is in New Jersey, in line to be remounted. 2034 has got 65,000 miles on it, and we got to do about $4,000 worth of front end work and stuff. So Justin's working on that. And 2051's got 52,000 miles with no issues. As far as scheduling goes, we had 248 6-hour shifts in the last month. 93 were by volunteers, 42 were not covered, and 113 were the compensated staff. We've been averaging about 85% shift coverage, and it breaks it down a little bit more so we've got the details. We got our uniform policy in place, that's been working well. Everybody got their stuff that ordered stuff. Building assessment needs, we had a meeting with the mayor and Terry and the county about the new home for OES. It was well received, and we haven't heard anything back from the county to my knowledge at this time.
No, I haven't. I just saw Brittany last week.
So hopefully we'll hear something soon. As far as billing updates, we've been diligent with submitting the charts so we can charge what we can get, for reimbursements. We're looking into other providers, but also in February, I've scheduled a documentation training for everybody. So that way we can make sure everybody's writing their PCRs to the best of their abilities to help the patients and to make sure we're able to recover the appropriate costs. As far as CMEs go, we've been working with Lexipol EMS1 to start doing our CMEs and our backups and that kind of stuff, so everybody can get their certifications and the annual required trainings done that we've never done to my knowledge. So we're working on that. The FOBs for Central Station, we've been working well with the fire department on that. February 20th, Eric has dumps coming to swap out and put new cores in, so that way the only way people can get in is with their key fobs. So all of you can download the app and we can put your code into the computer system so you can get in the station if you want. So let one of us know if you want to do that. We can do that for you.
You said it's different fobs than what we have for this building.
Correct. It's different fobs than what you have for this building. So you can either get a different fob for $10 or we can download the app and do it that way. But we can teach you if you would like. The other thing too, we'll put a master key in the office for them, so they have one. I asked them earlier. I forgot to tell you.
We'll put it here somewhere. Tell somebody that's there.
So that way when we get run over by the bus, they can still get into the building. Let's see, shift coverage, obviously, we're always looking at ways to increase our coverage and build a better culture in and around Owego Emergency Squad. Been working with communicating the open shifts and that kind of stuff, got the new gear for the volunteers, and we're also scheduling our holiday party come February 21st, I think.
Right, banquet.
Yes, for a banquet.
That point in the Valentine's Day party?
No.
After post Valentine's.
Obviously, old business, right? The basement still needs to be cleaned out. There's a lot of contamination and environmental issues down there. And we still have the sewer issues going on in the building, so it's not very healthy downstairs on the truck room floor. As far as IT goes, computer upgrades have been made. We're still waiting for the Microsoft 360 and emails to be swapped over to, or 365 is what it is supposed to be, from the old Microsoft platform. And we're also working to upgrade the narcotics computer. Any questions? If not,
Busy.
I'll say thank you.
Thank you.
Brad, DPW?
I'm short and sweet. I plowed all week. We know next week and the following week. I just want to give thanks to the DOT, Ron Romanowski, for helping us do the Court Street Bridge and a little bit of the underpass. I want to give him a plug on that one. Thank you. I think my guys did great this week and last week from the snowstorm. We were out there 22 hours straight, and then we came back in at night and cleaned up all the piles. So I just want to give them a boy. They did great. And another thing I would like to tell the board is that through the budget, what we had for signs, we did replace a lot of the signs. Well, budget didn't let us do all of them. So next year we'll get some more signs. But I just want to let everybody know that we are working on the signs. So that's all taken care of. But that's all I have. Yes, sir.
Anything for DPW? Nothing else on the agenda for you?
We're good?
Police
police department? Spoke with the chief today, he has nothing for us at this moment.
About 14.
Maybe about 14.
Pretty well side of the crowd.
I slept in, oh, by the way, I slept very well on that couch for a little bit.
What, say with police, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything for this. Any clerks up? All set up my list. Communications, we got official notification that we were awarded that matching grant for the cemetery, $50,000 from DEC. Let's see, new business, we got payment of bills left. We got payment of bills
To your satisfaction?
Yeah, other than see if we paid our health insurance premium.
Yeah, so.
Don't look at the numbers.
How much? We can pay the bills.
Second.
Fran, sometimes you have stuff about that. You
No, I'm fine. Yeah, right now.
We'll vote out payment of bills. Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Karen? Yes. Rusty? Yes. Laura?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Never sign them before I forget.
Like the electric bill, either.
Yeah, don't look at them. Health insurance and NYSEG, like all of our own bills at home. That's mine. Let's see, what's next is, we did the bid opening. Next is minutes.
We have treasure thing or no?
No, that's the second meeting.
Oh, that's right, every other meeting.
I would have motion to approve January 20th board minutes with the addition of my trustee report.
Okay, did you send it in?
I did.
They have it already?
They have it, yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Any other discussion about the minutes, other than, make sure Laura's, thing that she sent in got it there. Rusty? Yes. Laura?
Yes.
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Charles? Yes. Oh, Terry?
Yes.
See, you're paying attention. Trustee reports, Rusty.
No report.
Rob.
I met with the sewer department to discuss various things and did some union negotiations.
Chuck.
DPW's been covered, fire department's been covered. I don't have any other report unless anybody has anything for me.
Laura.
I have the DRI Public Art. We've had 3 of the finalists have their short 30-minute meetings, and those meetings are posted up on the internet so that the other finalists and it's publicly available, so people can have that information. And there's a 4th finalist that still hasn't scheduled theirs yet, but it's most likely coming. And so what that is we have 4 finalists who have were selected to proceed to phase 2, and that phase 2 deadline is February 27th.
That's coming up.
Yeah. So we need to get a little bit more information out. We need prevailing wage information.
Yes, which we should ask for another.
We need,
You have to apply for a PRC number.
That's the one who do that and then get the prevailing wage schedule.
Right.
I might 3 of the contractors have asked us for that.
yes, we need to provide it.
Yeah, it's something Fred knows how to, or should know how to apply for. You just have to ask Fred to apply for it.
Can you ask him to
I
apply?
got it. I just keep forgetting, but yes.
He doesn't want to do it for me. It's not my project anyway, it's the village's project.
Yeah, I'll ask you about it.
Then the solar project, we already discussed. I ordered the FEMA NFIP documents for our library here in the building, and then the library downtown, and so I want to know, I want to know when they come in. We had a climate smart community budget amendment meeting tonight. This was canceled. So that's going to be rescheduled, and that's about our grant with the DEC, the 5-year grant. We're a lot behind in our deliverables from the village's working end, from our workers working on the project, and even the contractors. And we are still researching the software licensing and software companies for code enforcement and floodplain management software.
Over your Forerunner.
Yeah, Forerunner or other companies.
Right.
And then I was contacted about snow removal, that like we had, we had on Friday, we had the train stop, and it covered both the railroad crossings for hours, and so residents were like taking alternative routes, around, and then like Page Street, somebody almost like ran them off the road on Page Street, so they were asking if like more snow could be removed, but I know they've been out working at it, doing that, and it was just because the trains were stopped there and stuff, it created like this situation, but
That's normal on Page Street, because I drive it every day. We should make that one way or no
yeah,
parking or something.
yeah, I always have, seem to have like, whenever I have an issue like, somebody's like playing in the roadway and stuff, I always like stop and slow down and like say like, I want to live in a neighborhood where people can play. So I just wait for them, but like, not everybody's gonna have that opportunity, and this guy just like charged at her. She was going to pull over. And, yeah, he was trying to. Anyways, just like if people could go slower, be more mindful, and shovel out hydrants and like be mindful of the corners and stuff, or even report them if there's a big problem, so that DPW can get to the proper intersections.
That was like,
Appreciated.
even no matter how much we posted about it and whatever about not parking in the street, there's still like that area over the flats by the school, like that was quite and there's cars there. I guess we could address it through alternate side parking or no parking after so much snow or whatever.
They have to tow away some cars on Central.
Great.
I mean, we're in a snowstorm, it's obvious you have to move 100 hours.
That's true. Sorry.
That was it for my report.
Did somebody call you about the possibility of changing Page Street to a one-way?
My wife's been asking me that for, let's say I've been married for 8 years, so at least 10 years.
Mike DeVarney asks for it every week.
My wife asks me every week about it.
Turning the boxes, the interesting.
Well, right, that one, I'm going away. And our street gets quite interesting too.
Oh, yeah, that's East Denver.
I know, it has to be two-way, there's no way out.
I can't stop myself jumping the tracks. Parking on the street and snow and stuff, and so I think it was in Seattle or Colorado, and the snowplow guy decided he had enough of that, and he took giant buckets off of his loader full of snow and put them on the top of people's cars that were parked where they shouldn't be. Just a solution to parking.
Sometimes those guys
got fired, but
good fun.
Greg wouldn't do that.
No, let's see, Terry.
We have OHPC on Thursday. We have one application, that's all. And I was in Boston this weekend and they had about 20 inches of snow. We had nothing to complain about here.
I agree.
These guys did a great job and it is, you can get around. It's crazy there. So don't move to a city if you don't like crazy snow.
Yep.
There, that's it.
Right.
I did talk with Julie Nucci about that grant for the cemetery, and the representative from the Tioga County Soil and Water will be meeting with the cemetery committee. Our next meeting is February 23rd at 5:30 here. So,
Down to me. Yeah, same, I was in Pennsylvania, and the same, they got lots over there. In the city, it's interesting, because I should appreciate it, but our streets are actually pretty wide compared to city streets. Yeah, they got nowhere to put it. I'm like, they're trucking it away too. So, yeah, busy union negotiations and all kinds of stuff going on. Public comment.
Stupid groundhog.
I know.
Yeah.
Groundhogs too. I wasn't in pain.
So what do you do?
Thought about it.
He's not,
Other than
it's more sick, it's more weeks.
No, I'm just asking if they have public comment.
No comment?
Oh, your turn.
Serve you something, right?
That's all right, no, you can comment. It's your time.
Well, just adjourn.
All right.